I'm with Keith from the Musicians Union. Keith, for those people who don't know or are just starting out in the music industry, what is the Musicians Union?
Okay, the MU's been in existence in 1893. We've got over 32,000 members. They work in all areas and genres of music. They're all people trying to make a living out of being a professional musician. Some people will work, maybe just weekends. Some people will work all the time. We've got a minority of employed members who work in orchestras and theatres, etc. The overwhelming majority are self-employed, and they're playing in functions, or they're young up-and-coming bands, or they're guys who are playing sort of grassroots live music. And what we're trying to do is to make them and allow them to have the living that they want to have.
So you're there to offer advice on agents and contracts?
Yeah. So the three most popular questions are how do you copyright a song?
Right.
How do we know our band name hasn't been used before? And how do you find a good manager?
Okay, so let's deal with the last one. How do you find a good manager?
Well, the main advice we always give to everybody is network. Take care of business and don't give up. And if you establish your own reputation and name sufficiently, usually the good managers will come and find you. We're always trying to recommend people to do as much as they possibly can for themselves before they start signing up managers or signing deals. Anybody who gets offered a contract can come to the MU as a member and get it checked for free. We also offer things like partnership service, so that anybody who's setting up an act can establish who owns the band name, who owns their equipment, who owns the rights to the song, stuff like that, because all bands will split up, even U2 will split up at some stage, and it's not always amicable.
So it's important to get all of that checked before you do anything, really.
Yeah, and that's what we're trying to do. It's the fence at the top of the cliff rather than ambulance on the beach, because otherwise you spend your whole life picking up other people's bones. Really what we want to do is to people to enjoy being a professional musician.
And there's no quick, easy fix either, is there? It's about hard work.
Absolutely.
And getting to know people.
Yeah, it's like any industry. There is absolutely no point in thinking that there's some golden key, and you'll go from playing the dog and duck and you'll be on, Jules Holland next week. You won't. You have to build up your contacts. Even the KT Tunstall's of this world, who appear to have risen quite quickly, have put in a lot of very hard work, and they've built up their team, built up their reputation, developed a live act, developed recordings, etc.
So how do you join the MU? Is there a criteria?
Well, as long as you've got the right to work in the UK, and you are going to make at least part of your living from being a musician, then you can join. There's not much point joining if you're not going to try and be a musician, because all our benefits are geared around that. It's very simple. It works out about £5 a month if you're in full-time education or under 21. About £10 a month if you're earning less than 15k a year from being a musician, and it's about £20 a month if you're over 15k earnings.
And there's no initial joining fee either, which is better than
it's just an annual sub, and that gives you access, whether you're age 10 or 100, to all the services. So depending on what advice you need, and obviously it's going to be different types of advice to different people. It's very hard to give blanket help. You're really having to say to people on the phone or down emails or when you meet them, etc., what is it you specifically want now? And of course that changes throughout their career.
And there's magazines that come out quarterly, I believe. What's normally in those?
Well, these covers here are covers of the magazine which I edit. We produce that quarterly. It's been distributed since 1950, so it's very well established as a professional magazine. And it gives them advice, gives them news, tells them what the union's been up to. For example, we'll do something about getting your music online, or distributing your music, or how to audition. All sorts of general stuff to do with helping them have, like I say, have the career they want.
Is there any directory of agents or producers or something?
Well, we produce lists, but at the end of the day, we have to be careful that we don't appear to endorse people. Yeah. We can point people in the right direction, and we can say, well, here's a solicitor you might deal with, yes, here's an agent you might deal with, but at the end of the day, we're obviously also kind of guardians and an independent source for musicians to come to make sure that work is fair.
As well, those details will be out of date.
There are 100,000 acts trying to be signed by record companies at any one time, most of whom won't get anywhere, unfortunately. And of course, the relationships they can have a relationship with a photographer, a website designer, producer, engineer, other musicians, singers. It's never ending. And the important thing is making sure those professional relationships work for them in the best possible way.
And repeat fees, you can help collect those, can't you?
Yeah, we can get the royalties. We have a collection distribution department. And like I say, somebody who's been on, one of the Harry Potter films, for example, that may get syndicated out around the world in DVDs and recordings, and of course the musicians who played on that, you know, if Japanese television shows something, the money will probably find its way back through the MU to those musicians, because obviously we keep records of who plays sort of major recordings. I mean, guys in independent sort of record royalty type contract stuff, you know, if they're not getting paid by the record company properly, they can come to us, but their accountants can deal with that.
Brilliant. So you're there for on-hand advice, free advice, agent advice, everything really behind the scenes. It's not just a question of starting a band and getting a record contract.
No.
There's everything behind, and it's not just bands as well, it's any musicians,
composers, teachers, of course there are
writers,
teachers.
everything.
Yeah, and because, you know, somebody may well just work in a studio, or they may just teach.
So it's invaluable, really.
Absolutely. You want to be a professional musician and you ain't a member of the union, well, you're missing out on a very, very good source of advice. We've got about 50 people work for the union full time. We've got a regional network. There is usually somebody there who can help you.
It's not just London-based either, is it?
No, it's Birmingham, Cardiff, Manchester, Glasgow, etc.
And also, I think it's important to mention that it's not just, even if you don't see any effects in the first year or the second year, eventually down the line you will be earning money later on, and you are going to need your advice.
Depends what you want to do. Depends what you want to do. Some people quite like having a cottage industry. They might put out 500 CDs now for an album, sell those, put the money into the next one, do 1,000, and tick along playing, say, festivals. They may work in, say, the folk or jazz circuit, and actually have a very enjoyable, successful career doing that. You don't have to be a big star. I mean, you know, I come from a musical family. My brothers have been playing, well, especially my older brother turned pro in 1961. I mean, he's been playing live around the countryside, around the world for 45 years. And, you know, got tremendous reward from it. That's the other part, is to remember how rewarding a musical life is.
It's not all about fame and fortune.
No, absolutely not.
It's about knowing your rights. Thank you very much, Keith.
Thank you. Thank you very much indeed.